Yeah, I mean, I think some sort of we're going to talk about this song and then playing this song is like nice, but we can also
Yeah.
like riff for a minute, or I mean, not riff, but Jesus Christ, like fucking talk about it and then play it.
If anything, this song itself has too much riffing in the guitar world on it.
So you're saying don't riff off the top.
Or maybe we should also riff too much.
We should riff in homage. We'll riff at the beginning and then we'll riff at the end.
Yes.
Just
keep
loyal
riffing.
listeners,
Just keep it riffing.
just nonstop riffing, just like
Riff raff.
this episode song.
Whatever happened to riff raff?
I was talking about Riff Raff today because I only recently realized that he became a wrestler. Like I had
But
no idea.
did he actually succeed? I thought
I
he
don't think
tried
he
to,
did.
and then I always feel like whenever I talk about wrestling, I was about to say, "Oh, it's impossible not to succeed." He probably just went to one of the indie leagues, but then someone would break a chair over my back because they all like every level of wrestling deserves our respect and applause.
So this song is not. But anyway, so have you seen the photos of Riff Raff though? Like 2015.
Yeah, I did see. I saw the photos of him like bulking up, but then I just assumed that he failed. And then, I mean, he's like he's sort of a cautionary tale for me of like when irony goes too far and how you can truly lose your identity if you go too far with irony.
Do you think that he was doing irony to start?
I think at some point he must have been, or at least he was picking up on like the vapors of irony in culture, whether knowing or not.
Yeah.
Maybe he exists in a post-irony world where it's just like, I don't know, like it's really scary.
The idea of a full post-irony world terrifies you?
It does. I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel really conflicted lately. I've been reading that book, Kill All Normies.
A great book, yeah.
By Angela Nagel. And I'm finally reading a book since reading Travis's autobiography.
Yeah.
She doesn't really brag about sleeping with as many C-list celebrities as Travis did. But it is a good book, and it makes me think a lot about the kind of jokes that I'm into and how people like me have ruined the world.
It's truly unfortunate, but I do think you sort of glossed over her time as the drummer for the Aquabats, which is something that she does share with Travis
true.
Barker's
That's true. Yeah.
biography.
Not a lot of people talk about that.
No, because it gets glossed over when people sort of describe her as, effectively one of the leading thinkers of our current irony-drenched hellscape. But also...
I forgot. Yeah, she learned about irony through ska, all the ska puns.
Through Mormon ska punks. That was how she learned irony.
Do you think that's enough riffing?
Yeah, that's... So do we start off the bat acknowledging that you and Mark Hoppus have already tweeted about this song tonight?
Scratch that. Let's not say the night so that people don't know when we record it. Let's keep it mysterious.
Oh, okay, good.
Let's say recently.
Okay. So do we want to open with or save the fact that you have recently tweeted with Mark Hoppus about this song?
I think we should, after all that, I think we should save it, actually.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Only
fine.
because it's kind of like it's less of an introductory detail. It's more of a,
You want to get deep in it.
tidbit.
Okay, that's fair.
yeah. Like, I think we could talk about, like, so it was my turn to pick, because we take turns so
Yes.
that there's no fighting.
Keep the peace in
have-
this family.
We have a very contentious relationship.
It was the only way to squash the beef.
Exactly. So normally I'm a little hurt that you haven't asked yet, but normally by now you would have asked me why I picked it.
Hey, Josiah, so why did you pick...
Oh, hey,
Up
Sam,
All-
what's going on? How's it going?
Why did you pick Up All Night by Blink-182?
No reason.
Okay,
Just kidding.
good.
Just
Great
kidding.
anecdote, man.
No, I was thinking, because we've been doing a lot of, like, firsts, because we're still sort of finding ourselves in the podcastdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a good one because it's sort of like the beginning of the end in a lot of ways. It's sort of like the first single from the album that everyone kind of hates. And it's like the first time where people are like, maybe this band isn't completely perfect.
Yo, that's not me, man. Don't lump me in with all those haters.
Oh no.
I'm a neighborhood's apologist, man.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I was scared of that.
Did you realize that when you described our relationship as being contentious before?
Actually, I think I remember now you tweeting about that once.
Yeah, I'm sure. I recently searched at Sam Sutherland Blink on Twitter just to see how much I've tweeted about this band. And the answer is quite a bit. I didn't see my neighborhood's opinion, but I'm sure it's out there.
Well, I wonder if you had spelled it the Canadian way.
I'm sure
when
I
you tweeted
did.
it.
I was saying it the Canadian way.
You're such a teacher's pet, dude.
I'm a narc, bro. So this is
Wow. So you're into. I mean, yeah. Let's hear your opinion of neighborhoods first, and I'll give you mine. Not that mine is like anything special, but let's hear what you have to say. You're defending it already.
Yeah, I'm digging in on Neighborhoods. The thing about Neighborhoods, an album that I think is good, is that I only realized that it wasn't bad when I found myself constantly returning to it, and I realized that what's the point of music? You know, I mean, we both have made a living.
Good question.
Truly, like we have both made a living at some point or another having an opinion about music, and that sort of brings all these outside factors into the way that you would approach a record. And I think it's fair to say, by most objective standards, this is the first single from a really shitty record. But if it's so bad, why do I listen to it all the time? And why, when I was getting ready for this episode, did I skip around and like listen to other songs and realize I know all the words? And so am I just like trying to be cool because I know that it's flawed and weird and barely really a Blink record? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're asking some really good questions, actually.
Yeah, so those are the rhetorical questions mulling around in my head as I realized.
I must confess that I did the exact same thing and skipped around, and like I'm cheering for this album at this point, for sure. Like this happens with me all the time when I love a band and then they release an album that's not good, and then I mentioned this on a different episode about Fugazi. I just listen to it until I like it, and that happens. Like, for example, to bring it to 2017. Pains of Being Pure at Heart is one of my favorite bands, and I think they might have just released a dud of an album, but I almost like it because I've listened to it like 30 times, and I like almost like it. So I think you can if you love a band enough, you can convince yourself to like something.
So you're saying Up All Night is kind of like a really condensed version of Red Medicine meets the new Pains of Being Pure at Heart album.
I think, actually, honestly, that actually is exactly what it sounds like. Literally, the sound of the song is that.
Okay.
So, but sorry, I got off track. You're saying that, but did you like Neighborhoods when it first came out? Or let's just say, did you like Up All Night when you first heard it?
When I first heard Up All Night, I thought, this is fucking insane, and I admire the just fearless stupidity of parts of it. And I was genuinely relieved when Heart's All Gone came out as the second single, because it's just like a good Mark song. But
it's like the online songs of
it sort of is the online songs of Neighborhoods. Whereas this one was like bonkers, but I don't know, it's got a decent melody. What did you think? We jumped right to me, man.
I know. I'm sick of going first.
Yeah, sorry.
You know?
It's a lot of
what if I
pressure.
want to form my opinion based on what you say?
It's true. This gives you a chance to respond to my slobbering
I think Heart's All
fandom.
Gone is the worst song I've ever heard. No, I'm just joking. I think you're right, and I think all those elements are there. Like, but to me, when I first heard it was like, yeah, they're making a bonkers song, but they're like, it's almost calculated. Like, they're just trying to recreate self-titled by squishing together all these pieces that just like don't really, I don't know, like it just felt almost calculated, and like it didn't work. And especially the opening riff, when I first heard it, I hated it so much, because to me, when Blink-182 tries to be like hardcore or like do whatever the fuck that is, that's sort of like, well, I guess it probably is Boxcar Racer influence.
It's
seeping
just
in a little
it's
bit.
a recycled Boxcar Racer riff for sure.
But they're like it like, to me it sounds like POD, and I think Also, Los Angeles by Blink-182 is a POD song.
But Los
And, like,
Angeles is so sick.
for if you like want to think about Sonny from POD and like pray with him, then it's a good song. But
Of course, you know
like
the
Blink-182
name of a
just
member of POD. Is that like?
oh yeah, dude.
the singer?
I saw POD at youth convention when I was like 15.
What is youth
And it-
convention?
Oh my goodness. How could you not know?
I wasn't a POD fan.
When you're like a youth group kid, then you go to youth convention, and in BC it was always in like Kamloops or like somewhere like that. Or actually, this one was in Saskatchewan, and you like you drive out, and you like have to go to like a bunch of like prayer meetings and stuff with a million other youth groups. But then they always get like 3 alternative Christian bands there. So usually there'll be like a sick pop punk band like Hawk Nelson or another like lower rung Christian pop punk band. But one time they got POD.
That's
And
wild.
I was a teen, saw them play. It was the week that Rage Against the Machine had broken up. And I remember, this is oh, this is embarrassing. This is hard to say. After I saw them play, I went up to Sonny, who is the dreadlock singer, and I was like, you guys are just going to carry the torch. Like, it's totally fine that Rage Against the Machine broke up because we have POD.
Yo,
And that's like, I haven't always been a horrible irony shithead. I've also been a deeply embarrassing earnestman in my life.
so given that that's kind of your background, why do you not like this riff? Because clearly it's in your bones to be down with
true.
sick
Yeah.
rage light riffing.
I think it's because I think this song came out at kind of an awkward time in history. Like, this is what, 2011, is that right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that up later too, but like this is sort of like Blink-182's first time truly in the present day internet era. Like kind of at the beginning of the internet era. So like this is like when for me in my life personally, 2011, how old was I? That's 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was like mid-20s.
Okay.
I was like not I was like maybe listening to Dude Ranch, but not like gonna fuck with. Like this is before emo night existed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is before.
Yeah.
Brand new was not cool at this time in history. Like this was like, for me, listening to Dude Ranch was like maybe a tongue-in-cheek thing because I liked Waves or something. But I was not willing to fuck with like alternative press style new emo riffing.
Right.
So
Whereas
it was
I
just like
literally wrote for alternative press at that time. Just to make that super clear.
So maybe that's why I connected with you in a way that when I first heard Up All Night, I absolutely hated it, and I thought like they were just squishing together things that didn't make any sense. But then, like maybe 2 years later, when I was like watching, because I used to just watch Blink-182 music videos on Vivo like all night, and Up All Night.
Yeah. I'll delete that part.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please just delete me. Delete the POD part.
No, the POD part is in for sure.
Fuck.
As is you begging to have it removed.
I figured as much. But
Yeah.
delete both of those parts.
Yes, fine. Of course.
No, I'm joking. Then eventually I was able to like stomach the intro enough to get to the chorus, and the chorus is so good that like I can't resist it. It's like the gross feelings I get from the intro only make the chorus that much better. So I'm totally on board with this song now. But yeah, this song like, and the other thing about the riff that bugs me, which is really kind of interesting, is did you see this? Did you see that the riff is actually from the Self-Titled Sessions?
Is it?
So there's like this documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like an MTV documentary where they visited them in that mansion they rented out while they were recording Untitled,
Right.
Self-Titled, I don't know. Oh man, every single Blink-182 sentence comes with like a debatable point.
So many grumbling
Untitled? Is it-
caveats, I think.
Oh my god. So, okay, there's a scene in this from 2003 where you can hear Tom in the background. So I'm going to play it right now.
Okay.
And I was like, let's just pretend this is our first record. That way we're not worried about anything. We're not limited. We're not like, people don't expect anything. We're just doing whatever we feel like at the time. So that was me flowing. I was speaking with my drums.
The hardest thing about recording a record It's got to be the very first day you walk in and you sit down and you pick up your guitar. You're all, I have an idea for a song.
That was very bassy. I don't know if you could tell.
It was booming.
Yeah. But, oh man, fuck. Well, I don't know. We can also just mention, we could skip the recording if we want to.
No, we can play it. I think it sounds fine.
Okay, we'll see how, yeah. So anyways, he's playing it in the background of this house in 2003. Like the... So, I mean, the riff that I hate the most is from an album that I love. So that confuses me even more.
How did someone find this? Because it's being played so quietly in the background, and this is from 2003. So someone in 2011, thought that sounds familiar and combed what exactly? Because also we're talking about like nascent stage of YouTube. Where did they even like track this down?
Well, this video is from 2015, so I think maybe for 4 years this little tidbit was hidden in plain sight.
The fact that this video was uploaded in 2015 only deepens the mystery.
Yeah.
What's the username? Who uploaded this?
I'm gonna say that's Guillermo.
Okay.
Guillermo Tolentino.
Guillermo Tolentino. Okay, so like.
And
Guillermo,
look at the views.
If you're a pod fan, if you can like let us know how this surfaced in your memory, what dark recesses of your mind contain the background noises from 15-year-old Blink-182 documentaries, it would be really good to know. I would really love to have that information.
Definitely. Actually, and I've just had a thought. If we ever do bonus episodes that are maybe hidden behind a paywall, get the Chapo money. That's where we can talk to people who we've mentioned on previous podcasts. We could do an interview with the Online Songs girls. We could do.
Have they reached out to you yet?
No, I think one of them is dead.
Right. Sorry. R.I.P. It's Maria.
we can't talk about past episodes anymore.
Sorry. Yeah. Always moving forward. Always moving
forward. Yeah. So I mean, the riff is from self-titled. What do we do with that information?
The thing I find curious about this song is that they still play it live with Matt. So even though it to me feels very much like a Tom song, there's obviously enough markification happening to make them kind of comfortable doing it. Although I guess they do a lot of like Tom heavy songs.
It's kind of weird that they do that. And
isn't it?
I remember there being a quote where Tom said like maybe 6 months ago or something, he was like, I'm still getting paid from this reunion tour. Like, don't worry about me. And it was kind of like bitchy and diva-ish. But like, maybe he gets crazy royalties when they play his songs, so he doesn't care. Or maybe the songs just don't really matter to him. But like,
also,
it does seem really weird. Actually, I have another theory about it, which is that I think like Blink-182 has so many hits that are like popular with like normies and jocks that I don't think they like read liner notes or like probably like remember when they first announced that Matt Skiba was replacing Tom and they released that photo and Matt Skiba was like wearing like a Hurley t-shirt and like a trucker hat and they were clearly trying to make him look like Tom. Yeah. Like I think they just know that like these fucking normies are not going to know the difference. They just want to hear all the small things and they're like they don't know that Matt, Tom, like it's the same.
This is an interesting theory. So they were just trying to fully like Weekend at Bernie's him, like just sort of prop up
yeah, exactly.
someone and be like, the boss is fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. Or it's like Paul McCartney, like the theory that Paul McCartney died and was replaced with a fake Paul McCartney. So but even lazier than that, they're just like, here's another California guy. And like, I'm actually not a huge Alkaline Trio fan, but I always understood Matt Skiba to have a very goth vibe that especially at the start, they turned into like, he looks like a wakeboarder.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, what's going on? Like,
no, that
was a calculated move. He didn't just show up wearing a Hurley t-shirt.
No, Skiba moved out to California and just became this bizarre sort of surfer goth where he's an even mixture of sort of Midwest pose heavy dark punk and just like 70s Bones Brigade skater vibes.
Yeah. And the ironic thing about that too is like surfer goth is also like a very cultivated look for like Burger Records people. This is not that at all.
But
like,
he
this,
is the OG.
Like surfer goth is like a very Tumblr-y sort of, or like Instagram aesthetic for Burger Records ass people. But then all the things that they were like, this doesn't fit with this aesthetic, Matt Skiba now embodies completely.
The last time I saw Alkaline Trio play, Matt Skiba was wearing a turquoise tank top and a Tilly hat. So, like,
I mean, I definitely like that he seems like a damn freak.
oh, 100%, man. He is a damn freak.
So I think we should get into this right now, actually, which is that there's this live at iHeartRadio Theater thing of Matt Skiba singing Up All Night.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I mean, let's just listen to it for a second, talk about how it sounds with him on the vocals.
Silky.
Everyone wants to call it all around our life with a better name. Everyone falls and spins and gets up again with a friend who does the same. Everyone lies and cheats their wants and needs and still believes their hearts. And everyone gets the chills, the kind that kills when the pain begins to start. Get this straight. Do you want me here?
I mean, let's be honest. No one is really sounding all that strong vocally. But yeah, I mean, he definitely like. I do like that his version of Tom has a bit more of a swooning, crooning sort of feel to it.
Well, he brings his sort of Morrissey worship into the kind of nasal, bizarre vowel pronunciation world of Tom. And frankly, I think it's a fairly significant improvement over any video of them doing it live with Tom. Like there's one of them doing it on, I think, Kimmel when the record came out.
Yeah, I already have that saved. And it's like, honestly, like, I guess I just wasn't paying enough attention at the time. But when people do like their Tom DeLonge compilation videos, like singing in their parody of his voice, I always think, oh, that's like funny and a broad impression, like Mad TV or something. But it's almost restrained compared to what he was actually like at this time. Like, I cannot believe no one said anything to him, or they just weren't talking. That, like, what is he doing?
I mean, it's so pronounced on this performance in particular, where you do genuinely wonder if it's an affectation. Is it the result of like the sort of addictions he was struggling with? Does that even do that to your voice? I don't know. I'm just trying to be sensitive.
Yeah, but honestly, especially on this Jimmy Kimmel one, it truly seems like self-sabotage.
Everyone wants to call it all around our life with a better name. Everyone falls and spins and gets up again with a friend who does the same. And everyone lies and cheats their wants and needs and still believes their hearts. And everyone gets the chills, the kind that kills when the pain begins to start. Yeah, this rain. Do you want me here? I struggle through each and every year, and all these demons, they keep me up all night. They keep me up all night. They keep me up all.
Like, what did we just listen to?
I mean,
It sounds like his batteries are dying while he's singing.
When I hear that and I think we committed to doing 155 episodes of this show, I wonder not what's wrong with Tom, but what is wrong with us, Josiah?
I mean, I could write a PhD about what I just watched.
What do you think of the riff coming back at the end? because there's the fake out, right? There's like
Yeah.
the song
That's-
ends. There's longer than I think a full 4-bar pause, and then with extra bass so that it sort of distorts and actually sounds kind of soft. You get the boo, banana, banana, like again.
I mean, I don't hate it. The thing I
love
hate
it.
the thing I hate the most about that riff is I think it's the second time they do it, but there's like this other guitar that makes this like sort of dissonant, like wow.
Yeah.
Like, it's very subtle, but they're trying to put some stank on it, as my friend Chris Dadge would say. There's some like stanky, like brown note kind of like just they're like, it needs to sound more fucked up. It needs to sound more like Fugazi. Like, also, has Tom DeLonge ever actually listened to Fugazi like as much as he? I don't know. It's hard to say because like this sounds like someone described to you Fugazi and then you tried to like based on the information you were. It's like a Google Translate of Fugazi.
Yeah, because this song feels like someone who maybe heard Repeater once. It seems possible. But you're thinking more like it was sort of someone just was like, they got this part, it's like,
Describing.
1, 2, 3, repeat it. Beep, 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 doo. And he was
Actually,
like, sick.
the riff we're talking about, the like that one, the POD riff is less Fugazi than the pre-POD riff, the do 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 do. That's like pretty Fugazi-ish.
Are you talking about the thing at the start where Travis is doing the bit on the cymbals and the hats or whatever?
Yeah, and there's just like a descending bass line.
So is that the part that Mark was talking to you about when he tweeted you about this song?
I thought you would never ask.
Yeah, man.
Well, Mark, who refuses to follow me on Twitter,
It's because you've been rude about him on your Blink 182 podcast, dude.
sometimes people need to hear the truth. And I know he's listening to every episode in its 55-minute long glory,
Yeah, hopefully 55 minutes.
taking notes about how he can do better punk jumps.
It's true, yeah. We've got
And
serious
also, I gotta-
critiques.
Honestly, I know we don't want to talk about previous episodes, but I just want to say, like, I was critiquing modern Blink-182 for not doing enough punk jumps, but I actually don't even know how to do a punk jump either. It's like pretty hard to. It's hard to do one that looks cool.
So you're retracting your earlier criticism.
I still think if your profession in life that pays you millions of dollars is to just do punk jumps, then you should know how to do it. Like, that's not my job.
So Mark tweets like, hey guys, I'm bored. I got 10 minutes. Ask me a question. And you ask the very broad, tell me something people don't know about Up All Night.
And he answered me immediately, and he gave me a really good answer. He said that the kind of phasey, arpeggiated keyboard at the top of the song is an homage to Tom Sawyer by Rush.
Sick. It would have been better if he said it was an homage to Repeater by Fugazi. Just for the sake of our banter here, but
It's true. But I do like that that is sort of like a cool nod because they're like, yeah, we're a power trio and we're trying to do too much at once, just like Rush.
it's also another Canadian connection in addition to him being a fan of Blink-155, Canada's best Blink-182 podcast.
I mean, there might be others.
Yeah, one of Canada's Blink-182 podcasts. As we're discovering,
Actually,
it's quite
wait,
a
there is
crowded
another.
market.
There is.
No, there's
When I
no
s-
way.
No, there are just many episodes of The Ongoing History of New
Oh.
Music by Sir Alan Cross.
Mm.
I think he's been knighted.
We've already acknowledged that we don't want to go back and address previous episodes. However,
As long as we say that every single time we do it.
yeah. So it's like, it's the equivalent of saying, I don't mean to sound racist, but, and you're like, well, you're going to say something racist. So
Yeah.
just say that you're racist. So in this case, I am racist. And we tweeted at Mark Hoppus after we had recorded last week's episode about online songs. So we had a whole debate about who sings the na-na-nas. And then he did one of his, I'm bored, I got 10 minutes, questy sessions.
Like, doesn't this guy have anything else on his phone?
It's the only app. Who can blame him? It's great.
It is my only app too, but I usually like try to get in a fight with someone when I'm bored.
No, he just wants to illuminate. He wants to give fan podcasts something to talk about. So he informed me that the na-na-nas were him, not Tom, which everyone kind of knew.
Which is fucking obvious. Like I
know.
got way better juice at a mark than you.
Yeah, sorry. But now, okay, so this is episode 4 of this podcast. So on the first episode, Mark tweeted at us to say he should be part of the discussion. He did not tweet at us about our critique of his ableist language on Apple Shampoo in episode 2. However, he
Not
did.
ready to discuss
No,
it.
he's not there yet, and I understand that it takes people time. But he
It's all
has.
about calling people in, not calling people out. That's what I've learned
That's-
recently. Calling people in.
That's important, and I want to make that clear. That's what we're doing here,
I
Mark.
learned that at a Reviver show in an inclusive bike shop.
Oh, right, because
Yeah, you know.
Reviver is all about calling people in.
That's what they said now. In 2017, they are. Call them in.
We've-
Not call them out.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're calling Mark in again. Called him in on Online Songs to get his take on the na-na-nas.
Na-na-nas.
And then you called him in again on Up All Night. So to me, I feel like Mark is effectively the third host of Blink-155.
Like
and
we can start marketing it that way, really.
we should start marketing it that way.
Woo!
Wow. That was just because I felt
Dude,
terrible.
I've started a thing where now every time the word Mark appears in a
You've ruined
Actually,
it.
he started it because the Mark and the arrow miss.
Yeah.
He started it.
It's our homage to our co-host Mark Hoppus, who, when we get press photos taken for like our AV Club articles or whatever, he should definitely be shopped in.
I also just realized that Geddy Lee actually has like a really good pop punk voice.
Geddy Lee has a super. Geddy Lee could be in the Wonder Years.
Like Fly By Night, or no, Take Off. The Bob and Doug McKenzie song is a pop punk song.
It
let's
is a
be
sick
honest.
pop punk song.
I can definitely someone has covered that.
So if we're going to talk about covers of this song, we need to start addressing the Future Idiots Neighborhoods and Morning Woods album, which I
Yes.
assume you are familiar with.
Actually, Sam, I showed it to you.
Did you?
Yes.
Wow, we're taking it back, eh?
Yeah.
Tell me about how you
let me
remember
s-
that you're the one that showed me that record.
Because when I think I showed it to you. I think
It feels like it meant more to you than it meant to me.
it did because I was really at the time. I mean, well, actually, I didn't really care about Blink-182 as much at the time, but I still was kind of like, I was kind of disappointed in the album. And then when I saw this pop up somewhere, I was excited by it and I checked it out and like they do a pretty good job.
This record is a top to bottom re-recording of Neighborhoods by a band called Future Idiots, who are from somewhere, like they have Melancholy type accents. So they're not from America or Canada. I have no idea where they're from.
I think they're from Sweden.
Okay, so they have very Melancholy accents. And they basically re-recorded Neighborhoods as if it was an old school Blink album.
Yeah.
So
And it's like pretty good. Like honestly, it's slick, it's fast. It doesn't totally sound like old Blink though. To me it sounds more maybe I'm just being racist. But to me it sounds like Millencolin or something.
is that racist? I don't think you can be
I don't know, I was
racist to
trying to think.
Melancolins.
Yeah. What is it xenophobic or
I think it's just
it's something.
just
I don't know.
astute.
It's sweetest.
Sweetest. But I mean, like, yeah, so I feel like the Venn diagram of people who are listening to this podcast and people who have heard a Neighborhoods tribute album is just two circles on top of each other. But it is an interesting experiment. And their version of Up All Night, or the first version, is like, I think, pretty rad. But then weirdly, there's also a second version, which is not as good. But should we listen to the first version?
Yeah, so it seems like they've it kind of seems like they I mean, I don't know. Like why did they do two? I'm not really sure, but it seems like I just feel like they were even confused by this song in the same way that we are. They were like that was the only one that stumped them. Even the Acid Trip song they've only recorded once and turned it into a pop punk song, but this is the one where they're like we need to do it twice.
Yeah, they needed to sort of cover themselves and say we're not really sure what the answer is here in terms of old school punkifying this.
Yeah, it does make me almost respect the song a little bit more that it's like that confused.
It's truly unknowable. But
All right, let's listen to version 1 and then
Yeah.
we'll play a bit of version 2.
yeah, okay.
feels the kind that kills when the pain begins to start. Get this straight. Do you want me here as I struggle through each and every year? And all these demons, they keep me up.
So that's the first one.
It's so good.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the kind of pop punk that I imagine that you absolutely love. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's like a
Oh,
Sam cover.
Dude, that
big
is
time.
extremely every band that I love sounds like that. When I go to Fest, I see 24 bands that sound exactly
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Except
Like,
instead of
like,
sounding
that's why-
Swedish, they all are doing impressions of Chuck Reagan, and it makes me want to fucking kill myself. But
But yeah, like that's like it's too modern sounding to sound like classic Blink, but it's totally like it makes you realize like, yeah, this could be a pop punk song if they wanted it to be.
well, I think it's such a brilliant concept for a cover record because you could only do it with a band like Blink, who did sort of really so dramatically change their sound while for a time retaining their core members. So like ultimately the melodies that come out of People are going to be recognizable. Like I feel like I'm getting too like sincere about this, but I think it's sort of fascinating to say like that to me sounds like a Take Off Your Pants and Jacket B-side. You know, like it could totally
Yeah.
slip into that record because it's that melody. It's like the computers that are learning how to write new Nirvana songs, you know. But instead,
but it's also
it's sweet.
it's funny that it's really funny that they did that because they also even sort of have to like apologize in a way in the write-up because it seems like such a egotistical thing to be like, we're gonna fix your album for you.
It
you know?
is though. It's a really messed up thing to do.
But then they said like it's not a slight towards Blink-182. It says that at the bottom. They just said, and then they say the fact that fans were disappointed with Blink's latest album shows the kind of high standards that the future idiots and the fans hold the legendary trio to. But we want to make it absolutely clear that it isn't an attempt to one-up somebody else's material. Like, why would you even put that, though? Because that's obviously kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean that's I think the definition of throwing shade, right? Like I think many people think that shade is just directly saying like Neighborhoods is terrible, but that is shade. Like that
Yeah,
recording
oh,
an
totally.
entire album in a different style that and including in your write up that fans are disappointed, but that's just because they love you so much is
It's really weird.
it's
and the other funny
really
thing is
elaborate
that-
shade. Really, really elaborate.
One other quick thing I just noticed is that some of our first interactions on Twitter were you and I trying to convince Damian Abraham from Fucked Up that he should interview Mark Hoppus. I
Oh.
assume, I think, but like this was way back in 2011.
Was that when he
it,
was hosting The Wedge, maybe?
It might have been on The Wedge. We were trying to talk about that.
Why were we making
then-
him interview Mark Hoppus on The Wedge?
Well, the funny thing is, like, I think I just was wanting attention, as I tend to do. But yeah, this is in 2011, and then something's weird with the interactions back then. Like, it doesn't show what we were responding to, unless Damien has deleted his tweets.
I've noticed
But
that
we're-
with old tweets, yeah.
We're saying to him, like, you know, you need to get Mark Hoppus as your next guest, and then we're both kind of riffing about Blink-182 in 2011. So
With
this is
Damian
really,
Abraham.
This is a long time coming, this podcast. I mean, almost every one of our tweets is about Blink-182 with each other.
Almost all of
But-
my tweets are about Blink-182 now because I just don't tweet that often. And so essentially my
Yeah.
account exists to interact with Mark Hoppus and like
and do promo.
and promote this podcast. It's awful. I need to be better at managing my social media presence.
But then Damien, being the historian that he is, he replied to us and said, I actually met Mark Hoppus at the Elmo in 1996 when they played with 10 Days Late. Do you remember, Mark? And Mark never replied. So we've been talking about this for much longer than we think 3 years is bad for this, but it's actually been going on.
So
By the time the podcast is done, we'll have been talking about this together for almost a decade.
this is our legacy. This is when I was starting to record this at like midnight on a school night. Ashley, my wife, said to me, "I don't know what is wrong with you." In like a complimentary way, you know. It's like coming from band practice, going to record the podcast. And,
Right.
and I also would like to point out for anyone who doesn't know me, I have a job. Like, this is not, I'm going to wake up in a couple hours. And I was like, I'm so afraid of death. Like, that's what this is. And then she was like, so you want the Blink-182 podcast to be your legacy? And I said, correct.
I mean, oh man, it's sad because it's so true and real.
Well, it's like we're sitting here, we're talking shit on a perfectly good riff that we've both been able to sort of sing, just from memory off the top of our head at various points. And we're like, it's a bad riff. Well, what have we done, Josiah? What have we done with our lives?
I know. I mean, ever since I started going to shows when I was a little kid, all I've been doing is talking shit about punk, and it doesn't matter at all. And I don't even go to do anything other than talk shit about it.
So you didn't find many other good covers, but I found a few that I liked, at least in title. So a guy named Rang Dang on SoundCloud produced what is one of several kind of EDM type remixes of the song, presumably owing to the time period that we've now talked about so much, which is this song kind of comes out when everyone has GarageBand on their computer and there's maybe acapellas floating around the internet and people are starting to mess around with FL Studio or whatever it is. And so everyone has a laptop that can do audio editing. And as a result, you get things like the Blink-182 Up All Night Rang Dang Chill Mix, which we should listen to because it is chill, rang, dang, and a mix.
I was hoping it was you were saying Brang Dang, like a Lil B reference.
No, it's just
Can't wait to have Lil B on the podcast one day.
Lil B will absolutely do this podcast.
Okay, let's hear this.
Everyone wants to call it all around our life with a better name. Everyone falls and spins and gets up again with a friend who does the same. Everyone lies and cheats their wants and needs and still believes their heart. And everyone gets the chills, the kind that kills when the pain begins to start. Get this straight. Do you want me here as I struggle through each and every year and all these demons?
Sorry, I was kind of getting lost in that.
I was like, dude, you're letting that run for a long time.
Hard to turn it off. That was literally just Owl City.
Well, I was thinking it kind of sounded like Frank Ocean off the top, but right before you would get the a tornado flew up, you get this
True.
everyone, which is if
No,
you're
I think,
expecting Frank, maybe a disappointment.
Frank Ocean mixed with Tom DeLonge equals Owl City.
That's,
guess.
I think, the sort of secret music.
Well,
map.
actually, less Frank Ocean, but more like D&Tel or the Postal Service.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally it's great because back then the earnest music fans of the world who were still obsessed with the Postal Service could have just heard that and had their whole night ruined, probably be up all night from that because it's really I mean, that's what I think Owl City effectively killed the Postal Service.
It's insane how short-lived that sound was because it just got so wretchedly corny immediately, and there's just only so many autumn men in the world. What would you rather hear? A sort of Skrillex style mix of Up All Night, a similarly kind of moody mix called the Diamonds and Dynamite remix, or an 8-bit version, which just sounds like an 8-bit version?
Oh, I was kind of hoping you were going to give me an acoustic option. But,
I don't want to hear it, man. You know what it sounds like.
It's true. Let's do the Skrillex.
Okay.
So I think off the top, this Mike Parsons guy, he said basically what I've done is destroy a Blink song. Enjoy. And I think he's trying to be an edgy dubstep guy is my guess.
He's definitely playing the part of the edgy dubstep guy from
Sounds like a sort of Why So Serious Joker mixed with a little bit of Suicide Squad Joker attitude.
He is extremely twisted. People don't realize it, but that statement you just read is actually all in sticky caps.
It's very twisted.
The most twisted way of writing.
Let's hear how fucking twisted this cover is.
Everyone wants to call it all around our life with a better name. Everyone falls and spins and gets up again with a friend who does the same. Everyone lies and cheats their wants and needs and still believes their heart. And everyone gets the chills, the kind that kills when the pain begins to start.
I assume there's a big drop coming up, but we don't have time for that.
No, who cares? Truly destroyed though.
I will say it's better than Steve Aoki's remix of Bored to Death.
It is better than Steve Aoki's remix of Bored to Death. Anyway,
so
that thing's
now
fine.
what?
Yeah, that's. You want to do final thoughts on Up All Night?
I hated it at first. Starting to see how the parts that I hate about it serve the chorus and make it more satisfying. So I'm on board with this song, and it's the song that made me reconsider Neighborhoods, even though I'm still disappointed in Neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, listening to the Future Idiots version, it makes me think, to be honest, it would be better if this was a Take Off Your Pants and Jacket era song. But I still think it rips. I was happy to talk about it for 1 hour and 34 minutes and 42 seconds.
I don't think you should edit this one.
No. I definitely shouldn't.
Especially the pauses where I'm Googling things.
Yeah, the Googling pauses are all staying in. I was pretty tired. I messaged you, Josiah. I was like, yo, are you around tomorrow? But, tomorrow I'm seeing Convergent Neurosis, which is just me saying that I have other musical interests beyond Blink-182. And I was like, okay, no, we should do it tonight. But, I'm feeling pretty tired. It's late here. And then you messaged me, you interacting with Mark Hoppus about this song, and I was filled with energy. It was like I just slammed.
Mark saved you.
Yeah, so Mark, thank you for.
He saved us all.
Yeah, with riffs and Rush trivia. So thank you, Mark, for making sure that this podcast got recorded. But I would like to go to bed now.
I'm gonna stay up all night.
Everyone wants to